Produced by Victoire. Victoire gives a special thanks to the EWF, Empire Wrestling Federation, and Mr. Jesse Hernandez, as well as SoCal Wrestling TV. Find the app on Roku.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Stylin', the podcast. This is the show that has more fashion sense than Yves Saint Laurent, more fashion sense than Giorgio Armani, and all those other brands out there in Europe. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause for my co-host, the stylist, Rico Constantino.
Hello, everybody. It's me again, the styling, smiling, and just
Don't say that other one. I know
no,
what
I can't. I don't want to disrespect the true icon of wrestling,
yeah.
but I'm styling and smiling
Yep.
and still giving my tips all around the world.
Yes, in fact, Rico giving some tips because, ladies and gentlemen, Rico got in contact with me. He was over in Europe this week, in Milan, I believe.
Yep.
So, Rico,
Yeah.
tell us, what were you doing out there?
Oh, they had a runway show.
Okay.
And they, for Thanksgiving and stuff like that, they wanted to have, that kind of theme with the runway show. So they called me. I had to fly to Milan.
Yeah, it's incredible. You're jet setting all around the world. But ladies and gentlemen, before we kick off the show this week, by the way, I am your co-host as well, Emir, the master. I want to give a couple of announcements for you. So going across the screen right now, they are available today. This is the OG, the original Stylin' the Podcast t-shirts. Make sure you get your hands on these. They are unavailable on a limited run only. So make sure you use the email address in the description of this video to place your orders now. Also going across your screen right now, you will see a brand new announcement. Public speaking engagements. That's right. The entire team here at the Victoire podcast. I'm talking Paul Roma, Mario Mancini, Rico Constantino, and our newest member joining us soon, Chris the Masterpiece Masters. We are now available for public speaking engagements. That means if you've got a wrestling school, if you're doing a convention, if you've got a corporate event where you want to have us on a panel, on a stage, much like a TED Talks, get in contact with us again in the description, the email address in the description of this video, and we can negotiate terms. And some of us or all of us will be there at your venue. But now, the announcement.
Yeah, but you got to take advantage of this. You got to reach for the stars. You got to move forward. Always move forward. And like I've always said, what the mind can conceive, the heart can achieve.
Amen.
So if you want some motivation, get in touch with Emir. Get in touch with Victoire. Let's have a party. I'll style it. I'll set it up, and we will talk and give you our expert advice and what we've lived and what we know.
Yep. There's a wealth of combination of experiences that have been had. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, Rico has been around the world. He's not just been in the styling profession. He's been in multiple professions. American Gladiator champion, Fort Boyard champion. I mean, this man has done it all. He's worked with charitable organizations like Paul Roma. They've been around the world, been in WWE, been in AEW, been in Japan. I've been through Hollywood. These are experiences that we have learned from, that we're now willing to give back and share with you, and hopefully give some insight and some wisdom, share some of the things that we've learned with all of you.
And take not shortcuts, but eliminate speed bumps that you're going to experience if you don't have this knowledge. We can avoid all the speed bumps and get you where you need to be.
Yeah.
From our own experiences.
Yep.
We learned it the hard way. Why does everybody have to go the hard way? If you want to learn and you want to be motivated, give Emir a call. We'll come out and we'll motivate any group. Like I said, wrestling school, businesses. We'll tell you from experience what we know to help make you a better person, a better company, everything. And I am so confident in that. we could help.
Yeah, it takes a lot. Also mentioned in there, of course, health and fitness,
Yes.
bodybuilding, nutrition. This is something else
Oh,
that,
with Paul Roma, oh
yeah,
my goodness,
yeah,
you got that. I mean, I was a bodybuilder. He was what you are,
mhm,
we're health,
yeah,
conscious,
yeah,
and health is everything. If you don't
mhm,
have your health, what do you have?
yeah, yeah,
Health is very important for long lives.
vitally,
So if we can help people, which is why we do this podcast, that's why we don't talk just wrestling. We talk about everything to help people
yeah,
and make their lives a little better.
yeah,
Hopefully, give them insight
yeah.
on what we've already experienced.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about, Rico. And that's what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen, because, once you get gifted, blessed with a platform, make sure that you go out there and share the knowledge and inspire and encourage people. And that's what
Yeah.
we're doing right here on Style in the Podcast. But also, a nice segue now into the opening segment of our show. Speaking of that, of course, Rico and I were inspired by a great many people in our lives. So, role models. So, Rico, I'm going to start with you. I'm going to let you share who some of your role models were personally and professionally and tell us what they did for you in your life.
Well, first and foremost, my father. My father was a great role model. I looked up to my father. He always encouraged me. And that was kind of hard because, like I've said before, I have ADHD, which is kind of hard, and it prevents you from focusing on multiple things. But my father was always there for me, so
Mhm,
that was my first role model, was my father.
mhm,
And he came from old Sicily, and he raised me in the Italian way, the Sicilian way. Yes, he was strict. Yes, he was hard on me, but it made me understand where I was going to go in life.
mhm. Yeah,
He built the foundation for me
yeah.
on what's important, what's not important, your word, your work ethic, how you treat people. My father was an excellent role model for that. That's
Mhm.
where I got my foundation.
Yeah. Now I'm sure also like much like my dad, he was a tremendous is a tremendous role model to me. He like your dad, Rico, he was strict, on a great many things that he did. If I was veering off in the wrong direction, he had no qualms telling me that I was. But he was also very encouraging at the same time. I was just having a conversation with my wife the other day about the blessing that I had, have a dad like I do. He always gave me the room to breathe as a creative individual, and he always encouraged that. And there were many times in my life, just sharing that personal with our viewers, where I would call him, especially during the Hollywood days, and I would say to him, man, this sucks. I can't believe this isn't working. This isn't where or that. And I'd say, man, this person went ahead and achieved this friend that I had before, and I'm still stuck in this position, still trying to struggle, sort of thing. And he would say, well, you took the road less traveled, and there's something to be said about that.
Yes.
An
Not
admirable, yeah.
yes. The road to success, true success, and a feeling of accomplishment, that road is less traveled because people aren't willing to put the effort in that, let's say, you or I put in.
Mhm.
I didn't want anything handed to me.
All right.
I wanted to work for everything that I did.
Yeah,
And that's what my father taught me, just like
yeah,
your father taught you. You
yeah,
got to work,
yeah.
you got to put in the extra effort,
Hmm.
which makes you above, the trend.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was never afraid of putting in my time because
What
my
it,
father let me know. And he said this, and it's stuck with me. My father's gone now, but he said, everything is subject to change.
Mhm.
Everything. And I took that, and that was a nugget I hold to today. You
Mhm.
might have plans,
Hmm.
and you got it going this way, but everything is subject to change, and
Hmm.
you got to be able to rebound and have a plan B.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
got to do that, and that was one of the most important things he taught me,
Yeah. Yeah. I
to
could.
always expect change. Something come out of left field that hits you that you didn't count on, but you have to be prepared for it.
Mhm.
And that's what my father taught me.
Hmm. Isn't that also the way of our Father in heaven, Rico? Because
Yeah.
it's the same thing, I mean, ultimately, again, we would be remiss if we didn't, say our ultimate role model is our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Yeah, of
And
course.
but that's the thing is, you never know, and but you have the discipline, the courage to be able to look at things, especially if someone like you, Rico, you've had so many different professions over the years. And, a lot of fans probably already know this. There are many wrestlers who post wrestling career fall to pieces because that's all they are. That's all they know, or at least that's all they believe that they are when they're
Right.
not. Rico, you are just as healthy today. You've had some health issues over the years, but you're just as healthy today as you were back when you were on TV. You look like barely a few years have gone by since that time. But you've acclimated to different career paths since then, and you
Yeah.
flourished. And you're about to take another chapter. We won't get into those personal details, but you're about to do another chapter in your life soon.
Yeah.
So you are ever evolving, and that is the
Yeah.
richness of your life, is you've experienced so much. But again, through that discipline to be able to shift.
Hmm.
Speaking of discipline, Rico. So was your dad? Uh, did he instill that discipline in you? Was that from him, or did that come later in life from another role model?
Well, he established it right away.
Okay.
And growing up, like I said, I had ADHD.
Hmm.
I struggled in school. I
Hmm.
was a DF student
Hmm.
all the way to seventh grade. And parents got divorced, unfortunately, but that
Hmm.
happens.
Yeah.
And my mother could not support four children on a cocktail waitress job.
Yeah.
So me and my third brother moved with my father, and then he ended up going to Wisconsin. So
Okay.
to graduate to the eighth grade, and they called them units back then, not credits.
Mm.
I needed a math and an English unit to go on.
Hmm.
Well, when I walked into military school, I went, oh my God, I saw all these medals, ribbons, and they had explanations on how you could win them. Well, to an ADHD kid, you're like, oh my God, this is heaven.
Yeah.
All I have to do is apply myself and
Okay.
I can get
Yeah.
these,
Yeah. Yeah.
So uh I asked my father to put me in military school. I wasn't put there because of bad behavior. I asked him to do this for me because it's structure.
Yeah.
And people with ADHD need structure. They
Yeah.
got to know things because that's part of our condition,
Hmm. Hmm.
and when I got to the military school, I'll give you the short story. From a DF student to when I was a senior, I graduated second in my class.
That's incredible. What an accomplishment. Yeah.
But I understood it.
Yeah.
And the military school taught me discipline, taught me respect,
Mhm. Yeah.
So I've had excellent mentors.
Yeah.
My mentors in military school was Major Lilich
Hmm.
and Colonel McCrary.
Okay.
Uh, and I remember, like I said, when I went to when my ninth grade year, I was 4'11" and weighed 82 pounds.
Very
I
smart.
was just a little kid.
Yeah.
And I went out for the wrestling
Hmm.
team, the Olympic wrestling, the real, not sports entertainment wrestling.
Yeah.
And I went out, and of course, the lowest class they have is 98 pounds.
Hmm.
Well, I weighed 82.
Yeah.
So I wasn't worried about making weight. All these other guys were spitting and dieting to
Yeah.
make their weight class,
Yeah.
because before every match, the referee's right there and he does the scale. So he
Hmm.
checks everybody.
Got it.
So I look back at it now, but it was kind of insulting or, not good character, but I'd show up at the scale and jump on it with a Snickers bar in my hand, chewing a Snickers.
I
And the
bet
weight, he put 98 pounds, he let it go and it went thunk. And I'm eating a Snickers before my match. And with that, that was my first basic competition, basically one on one. When you're in that wrestling mat,
yeah.
it's you against the other guy.
Mhm.
Nobody can help. It's not a team sport, it's an individual sport.
Yeah.
And I was so scared when I was going to go to my first match that Major Lilich came to me, and I went to him actually and said, Major, I'm scared.
Yeah.
I'm scared. He goes, you, Rico. He was from Yugoslavia, I think. He says, you don't be scared. You are good. I said, well, how am I going to know that? He
Yeah.
goes, I will show you. And
Uh-huh.
he took a red felt pen
Yeah.
out of his pocket
Uh-huh.
and he drew a dot on my nose. He goes, I am with you, Rico.
Yeah.
You take that and you wrestle, but I'm with you.
Yeah.
And I remember going to wrestle and I'm facing off with the guy, and the
Mhm.
guy'd look at me and go, what the hell is that? And the
Yeah.
whistle go off and I'd shoot for the guy's legs.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
There's a red dot on my nose.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Major Village did that when I had home wrestling matches and away wrestling matches. And he was there for me,
Mhm.
because I didn't have my parents.
Yeah.
I went to military school and they moved to California.
Yeah.
So Colonel McCrary and Major Lilich were
Mhm.
my basic role models through
Yeah.
high school.
That's an incredible story, and sometimes that's all it takes, Rico.
Yeah,
Is a dot on the nose for your mind, for your young mind to think that person's with me,
yeah.
just through that little touch. For me, it was outside of my Savior Jesus Christ and my dad. It was Sensei Martin at Jinseikai Shotokan Karate in the United
Karate.
Kingdom.
Yeah.
Yep.
You gotta
And
respect your sensei.
yeah, and at the time, I remember as a youngster, Sensei Martin was very strict. I mean, if you watch Cobra Kai, the strictness of Kreese, but not the villain of Kreese, not the evil of Kreese, but the strictness of Kreese. And that's how Sensei Martin was. At the time, as a youngster, of course, there were times when I was like, "Oh man, I hope that Sensei Martin doesn't pick on me today." But, but he did it with good intention. Oh, the jacket's coming off, folks.
Yeah, it's a little
That's
warm in Chateau Rico.
yeah,
I'm having some remodeling done, so pardon the noise.
yes, that's right. Yeah,
Chateau Rico needs some upgrades.
yeah, yeah. He's doing some upgrades there. He's giving it a facelift, as it were.
That's it.
So,
Or tummy tuck.
or a tummy tuck, yeah, or just
Okay,
some fillers. Yeah, continue.
yeah, continue
Um,
with your sensei.
All right. Yeah. So Sensei Martin, there were many times when I would stand there in line and he'd come right up to you and say, yeah, well, shout right in your face, put your arm. Yeah. One of the things was to, when you make a fist, you've got to have it straight in line with the forearm here. Something
Yeah.
actually, that's just a pet peeve. I've got to say that right now. There was a few years back, I went to visit a Jinsei Kai Shotokan class out near Los Angeles. And I remember just what do they call it when you audit a class, you watch a class before you're
Yeah,
going
you
to
audition.
yeah, you audition it. And I remember the guys were punching like this, Rico. Their
Yeah.
fists were like this, and I was like, who's teaching these guys? So anyway, so Sensei Martin was very like that, very, very strict, very disciplined. But I tell you what, it paid off. And a combination of my dad pushing me and Sensei Martin, I got my black belt. I succeeded.
Congratulations.
Yep, I succeeded at every
Kata.
grading. Every grading, I
Yeah.
succeeded. I never failed a grade. And I won a competition, the overall competition in 1994. I went up against guys that were a lot older than me. I was very, very young.
How
Very,
old were you? How
what's
old were
that?
you?
How
How
old was
old were
I at the
you?
time? I was 11 or something like that. 11,
How old were the guys you were going against?
16 to 18.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
and I
And you
and
won?
I won. and I won that kata. I got the overall, and it was actually a funny story though, Rico, because I remember doing my kata. That was part of
Yeah.
the award, and I was so intense, so in the moment. But I remember when I did my ki, I had a runny nose, and it all came out of one of my nostrils, and it was right at the end of the kata, and it was just hanging there, and I was like, oh my gosh,
Oh,
I'm in a not a room, it was like a leisure
auditorium.
center, an auditorium. All the parents, all the people were watching, but I didn't, I didn't break character. I
No.
stayed in the moment. I did not wipe my nose. I bowed to the judges,
Hmm.
and then they brought me back up, and yeah, I won.
Ah,
And it was, but again, Sensei Martin, my dad. So these were some of the role models that formed that early, and still to this day, I'm very disciplined on myself, but I enjoy it.
yeah.
I think structure is like you said with people with ADHD. I think even people without ADHD, structure is the best thing that you can have and own,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
without it, you're just blowing in the wind.
Yeah. You're like a leaf on a lake.
Yeah. Yeah, you've got
Yeah.
to have it.
And I'm sure you know, but for everybody who doesn't know out there, the reason why you punch with everything aligned
Mhm.
is your first two knuckles are aligned with your radial and ulna bone.
Yeah.
The last two are free floating.
Yeah.
So when people punch people and they hurt their hand
Mhm.
because they're not doing it correctly,
Right.
these two bones are connected to these bones,
Hmm.
which makes you a lot stronger.
Yeah.
And with the power team, I used to break bricks and, smash ice, rip phone books and stuff like that. But you had to keep your form because if you didn't
Hmm.
and you hit with the last two knuckles, yeah, the bones would pop up. I
Yeah.
remember during a program or a show, I misjudged and I hit, and the two bones lifted up from my hand.
Hmm.
Immediately, I grabbed it and smacked them back down
Yeah. Wow.
because I got complacent.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I snapped them right back down
Hmm.
into place. So they came out of joint, they dislocated, and I relocated them on my own.
Wow.
But it was still painful.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's why they teach you in karate to hit with the straight fist, with
Yeah.
the knuckles down,
Yeah.
because they're connected to bone.
It's got to be
And
in
that's
line.
where you get your power.
Yep, absolutely. And then segueing over, Rico, into our professional role models. So
Yeah.
so I'm going to start with you then, Rico. So who is it for you professionally that really struck you first in life that led you onto a path of success in a certain field?
Oh my gosh. That's easy. Uh Jesse Hernandez,
Oh,
the
yes, Mr. Jesse
Empire
Hernandez.
Wrestling Federation.
School of Hard
Jesse.
Knocks. Yep, Jesse
Yep.
Hernandez. Yep.
Uh like I said, I went there just to have fun, and because my brother wanted to do it, my late brother. So I went with him just to have fun.
Hmm.
And Jesse saw the it factor. I didn't. I'm just learning. I never did wrestling before,
Hmm.
but Jesse saw it and he took the time to mentor me
Hmm.
because I listened.
Yeah.
Jesse never had to tell me something twice.
Hmm.
He told me once, and I respected that man so much that whatever he said were words of gold.
Hmm.
They were precious because he had an experience. He
Right.
was part of WWF at the time.
Yeah.
He refed. He knows so much about this business that he's probably forgotten more than I know.
Yeah.
He is an excellent mentor, but you got to listen to him.
Hmm.
He's very calm. He's very, very calm person. And you got to reach for the nuggets
Hmm.
with him. He gives nuggets of gold and good advice, but you got to be listening for him. If you're
Hmm.
not listening for him, you're going to miss it.
Hmm.
And then Jesse's going to get uninterested
Hmm.
because you're not listening to him, but he's an old school type of wrestling coach,
Yeah.
old school,
Yeah.
and I was fortunate enough to understand that. And from just going there for fun, My brother and I, my late brother, he was called Mr. Quick. So he was a heel.
Okay.
And we went there and he owned the bail bond business. I was his general manager. And every time we went, we brought an agent, a bail bond agent, and he would film our 3-hour practices. So I could go home and review them. And what Jesse told me, I'd review them
Mhm.
and like NFL films. And that's how I got better so fast.
Mhm.
Because all of a sudden, the wrestling bug bit me.
Yeah.
And I was infected with wanting to be a professional wrestler,
Mhm.
an entertainer, sports entertainment, whatever. I just knew this is where God was leading me
Mhm. Mhm.
out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I've always been a wrestling fan.
Mhm.
The 80s, the 90s, all the characters that we've talked about. I loved the product back then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah.
And and I loved it as a kid. AWA used to come on in Las Vegas, Channel 5 on Saturday morning, and I'd watch Rocky Johnson, Pat Patterson, The
Yeah.
Sheik. I mean, I watched them all, and
Yeah.
I was just, oh, this is great. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Yeah.
this is before everybody let the cat out of the bag that
Yeah.
it was choreographed. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I just loved it,
Hmm. Yeah, no,
you
and
know.
I agree, and certainly, actually, you talk about your mentor, Jesse. Well, I have Joint, actually. This is about
Two, you have
two,
two.
two Joint. This is professional wrestling, so I'm talking about my professional wrestling role model, and I agree 100% with you, Rico. Mr. Jesse Hernandez of EWF School of Hard Knocks in San Bernardino, California, is one of them. Jesse, I met him just shy of about 7 years ago, I believe, is the first time I met Jesse. And ever since then, like I said, his approach to training and helping you to become equipped with what you need to become better yourself is a gift that Mr. Hernandez has.
Yeah,
Sometimes he'll give you a hint. It's up to you to become mature enough and become the adult to understand that and
yeah.
put it into practice. So my
One
journey,
one one thing before
yeah,
Jess, he'll never tell you to your face.
mm-mm,
He
mm-mm,
won't.
mm-mm.
He just, oh, that's good. That's
Yep,
good. You
yep,
did a good job.
yep,
But he'll tell everybody else how fantastic it was.
yep,
You should follow this guy because he's listening and look where he's going. But
yep.
he just gives you that was good.
Yep, he'll
Oh,
give.
that was good. But he
Yep,
he he never tells you face to face.
yep. Which is an amazing way to
Did
do
he
it.
do that with you?
He's doing that with me now.
Oh
he's
my
he's
goodness.
a very, like I said, the way he teaches, and I'm thankful for that, because then it teaches me, it teaches you. We can do this. We pass it along to other people. It's an
Yeah,
amazing way to teach people, to help them to mature and figure it out themselves while you're still helping them. You're still paying attention to them, but you're not doing everything for them. You're
right.
allowing them to figure it out. You're giving your hints and your suggestions. You're not lording your instruction. You're giving it freely. And that's another thing. Jesse, he's a giver. That man
Yeah.
has given so much. And like I said, I will encourage anybody who's in Southern California right now, anyone who's near the San Bernardino, Riverside, San Diego area, if you are looking to get into professional wrestling, then check out the School of Hard Knocks in San Bernardino, California. Empire Wrestling Federation. We put on tremendous shows almost on a weekly basis, in fact, where we
Yeah.
showcase our talent. You can come out and see us. By the time this video goes out, there is a show this weekend on Saturday night in San Bernardino, California. It is Jingle Slam. So it'll be
Jingle
out.
slam. Oh,
Jingle Slam coming out.
ah,
Rico, what is that?
uh, uh,
I saw your shirt move.
yeah.
The heck is that, Rico?
Oh, that's
What the
Houdini.
heck? It's a
That's Houdini.
it's a snake.
Yeah, it's
It's a
Houdini.
snake.
Yeah, this is one of my
My
children.
oh my gosh, Rico. He was just crawling around.
Yeah, he loves being next to my belly. He warms
Gosh.
up that way. Reptiles are cold-blooded.
Yep.
So,
So
yeah,
Rico, what is he? Tell the audience, what is he?
he's a ball python.
Little python.
Yep. He has an interesting pattern. That's why I got him. Just the pattern from here down is just exquisite.
Yeah.
I got him when he was about 8 inches,
Okay.
and now he's almost a foot,
Yeah.
fattened up,
Yeah.
very docile
Yeah.
animal. For anybody who's looking to get into reptiles and stuff, start off with a ball python. They're very, very docile. They're human friendly. Uh, I know from experience, I had a Burmese python
Mm.
who I raised from about a foot and a half, and she grew to 11 feet, and she
That's a
was
big
eating
thing.
full size rabbits, but she was an albino, white and yellow.
Yeah.
Albinos don't survive well in the wild because they're seen.
Hmm.
Uh, his name or his or her, I can't sex it yet. They need to be a little older,
Mm.
but this one's named Houdini because it escaped from its cage 4 different times. I don't know how, but it
Yeah.
did.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Houdini is very human friendly.
Yeah.
You can walk around with her. I take her to the store.
Hmm.
You know, she loves going out. She knows my scent,
Hmm.
and a very, very pretty and I just love reptiles,
Yeah. And you've
you
always
know.
loved reptiles, right, Rico? Ever since you were
Oh
younger?
yeah.
Yeah, you
Oh
kid? Yeah.
yeah. I mean, in Vegas, you
Hmm.
go hunt down lizards and horny toads and stuff like that. That's what you do in
Yeah.
Vegas,
Yeah.
because it was so like that. Sure, Houdini's different than the kids back there, but
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
uh, like I said, when I'm sitting there watching TV, I'll just, hold
Yeah.
her and she'll lay on my stomach.
Yeah.
But Monty, which was the python I had, I grew her from about almost 2 feet. She
Hmm.
got 11 feet.
Hmm.
And she, like I said, she was eating whole rabbits. And back then, you had the water bed. Remember the water beds?
Yes. Yes, I do. Yes.
So I had a heated water bed.
Okay.
And Houdini doesn't have to eat every day, or a snake. You can feed them 2, 3, 4, up to 8 weeks out.
Yeah.
You don't have to feed them every day.
Yeah.
But if you want them to grow, you feed them more frequently because they'll shed their skin and they'll grow, shed their
Hmm.
skin, they'll grow. So, but I feed Houdini about every 3 weeks
Hmm.
because I don't want him to grow too, or him or her to grow too fast.
Hmm.
But Monty, my Burmese python, once I fed her and she went to the bathroom, I'd put her in the tub and help shed her skin. And she roamed the house for 3 to 4 weeks. And at night, she would curl up on my waterbed
Yeah.
because of the warm and
Yeah.
sleep with me. So I used to sleep with an 11-foot python,
Darn, man.
and I wasn't worried about her eating me,
Yeah, no, I was
you
gonna say.
know. But, I've had monitor lizards, and in my past, I had a black roughneck monitor lizard that I let roam around and in California. And I used to take a shower before work. She'd crawl in the shower with me and just sit there and get wet and stuff. And when I got out of the shower, she'd crawl out of the tub and
Yeah.
follow me. It was like a dog, but it was
Wow.
a monitor lizard.
How big were they? How big was it?
She was about 4 feet long.
That's pretty big. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But she had teeth, and back then, in the 90s and stuff, used to feed them live prey.
Mm, hmm.
Because that's what they go after.
Hmm.
Now, me being an owner of a reptile now, I don't feed Houdini live prey.
Right.
You know, some people might think that's cruel,
Hmm.
to do that, and I kind of agree.
Hmm.
So I buy frozen mice
Hmm.
at the store.
Yeah.
And I've trained Houdini because first you have to thaw the mice out. So you put it in cold water and then you raise the temperature a little bit every time. And when you get it to where it looks like body heat, to Houdini, it's alive.
Hmm.
So I have to hold it in front of her and she'll take it, she'll wrap it once and think she's killing her prey,
Hmm. Hmm.
so that's how and same thing with my kids back here. I
Yeah.
don't feed them live bait. I feed them pellets, and I've got them trained on pellets, you know, high protein pellets and what they eat.
Yeah.
So I don't feed any live prey
Yeah.
to any of my animals now.
I think there'll be a
Uh,
lot. I think there'll be a lot of people watching that are breathing a big sigh of relief when they hear you say that. Yeah. So yeah. I mean, it is nature, as we know, but
right.
I think what may bother some people is just the notion of it, the idea, because in nature you don't see it. It is
No,
happening out there.
right.
We hear coyotes all the time where we live out in the deserts here, but that's what they do. They have to hunt to survive. But the interesting thing is, again, they're not gluttonous. You're talking
No.
once every 3 weeks, once every 8 weeks. That's not a lot of,
Yeah.
it's not a lot. Speaking, you did say raising the temperature right there. And I thought that was
Mhm.
a great way to segue into our next topic. Raising the temperature, raising the stakes. That's certainly what WWE seems to be doing right now as we come off of Survivor Series 2024 War Games.
Yep.
What a tremendously well put together pay-per-view. Rico, you saw the highlights. You've seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was very impressed.
Hmm.
The way the company is going now, under whoever's running it,
Hmm.
Triple H, Rock, or whoever, they're starting to tell stories,
Hmm.
which is good. And
Yeah.
AEW, I don't know if they stole it from AEW or whatever, uh, but they're giving the audience a chance to absorb what they're
Hmm.
doing.
Yeah.
They're telling a story. It's not all high spot, high spot, high spot, high spot, where the audience is going, holy
Right.
crap.
It's a ping
You
pong
know,
game.
yeah,
Yeah.
but they're telling a story.
Yeah.
And in a story, there has to be pauses,
Yeah.
you know, like with the ladies coming off the top of the cage. I can't remember her name, but the girl with the garbage can,
Hmm. Hmm.
when
I
she
don't.
came
I can't remember.
off,
Yeah.
uh, she stood up there and let the audience absorb it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Hmm.
when she did it, they went crazy.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, you have to do that for an audience.
Yeah.
I was right in the middle of it when I was in WWE, because they wanted us to do the high spots, constantly moving, doing all that.
Yeah.
But I slowed down
Hmm.
on my own to tell my story of the stylist or the Adrian Street homage.
Hmm.
I purposely slowed it down so it wasn't high spot after high spot after high spot,
Yeah.
because I wanted the audience to understand it, digest it, and whether they booed me or cheered me, I just wanted them to know the character.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think WWE is on the right path right now.
I think
Uh,
so. I think I agree with you. I think there's definitely something brewing in WWE that I'm actually excited about, and I say that because it's been many, many, many years since I've
yeah,
been excited about anything WWE has done.
yeah,
And I think it started with the Drew McIntyre CM Punk story. That
yep.
started it. I think, in my opinion, Drew McIntyre is one of the best wrestlers on the entire circuit right now. And I say wrestlers again, our audience, our viewers. When I say that, when I mean wrestler, I mean all around package. I'm not
Yep.
talking about, again, a guy could go in the ring and wrestle to his heart's content. He could be the best technical wrestler on the planet. If he doesn't have character and he doesn't know how to talk and his look doesn't match who he is, then he's not a good wrestler.
No.
Okay, it has to be a complete package. I
Yep.
believe Drew McIntyre. I believe Cody Rhodes. I believe CM Punk. Um, Still don't believe Roman Reigns, but that's just me. I've never ever really gelled with his character at all. But I think, overall the product in WWE has come up. One of the things, Rico, I wanted to address, because I know a lot of fans are upset about it, and I was too until you explained to me off camera before we started today. LA Knight. Now, here's a guy who has worked his, I mean, he went from Max Dupree, a role where I believe he tried to imitate you, but yet failed miserably. Of course,
Nobody can ever duplicate the stylist.
nobody can.
Nobody can. They've
No.
tried numerous times,
Yeah.
but you can't.
Yeah.
I'm a one and done.
Yeah. And I
Unless you
agree.
bring me back,
Yeah.
I am the stylist.
Pretty
I am.
much. That's it. There's
That's
one and
it.
done. There's no another stylist. And I'm not just saying that because he's my tag team partner here. I'm saying it because it's the truth. But anyway, nonetheless, so he was Max Dupree. He fought back from that, became LA Knight. Prior to that, he was Eli Drake in NWA. And I loved the Eli Drake character in NWA. I thought he was a stellar performer, stellar character. And now he's doing it in WWE. But at Survivor Series, they took the United States title off him. They gave it
Mhm.
to a returning Shinsuke Nakamura. A lot of fans are irate about that because they thought it didn't make sense to bring him back to have LA Knight lose. But you have a different perspective, Rico. I want you to share that with the audience.
Well, yeah. Evidently, they see what talent LA Knight is.
Mhm.
You know, they're going to prime him for bigger things. So he has to drop the US title,
Mhm.
has to drop it to go for the Intercontinental title.
Mhm.
You know, that's a progression.
Mhm.
You know, USA title, Intercontinental, and hopefully the Universal or the title itself, the
Yeah.
heavyweight title itself.
Yeah.
So this is what I believe is happening for LA Knight. And if he continues on this path, because he is a great talent,
Mhm.
I love his promos. I love how he wrestles, you know. So I think the fans need to just sit back a second and just see where they're going to put him.
Mhm.
Now,
Mhm.
I don't know firsthand. I haven't got any information or anything like that. But when somebody does that, they're preparing for bigger and better things.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I hope for LA Knight, that's what WWE is doing because he is a real professional, you know,
Yeah.
professional.
He is.
Um, and so I hope that's what they're doing. If they're not doing that, then that's a sin,
Yeah.
you
Exactly.
know. But you got to wait to see what happens because WWE is not going to show you their hand.
No. No.
They're not going to do it because it's entertainment.
They.
So I'm hoping, but Shinsuke deserves that title. You know, Shinsuke is on his own an amazing
Mhm.
wrestler,
Mhm.
you know, and I think they're giving credit to Shinsuke,
Mhm.
which is long overdue, in
Mhm.
my opinion.
Mhm.
And they're going to put LA Knight, they're going to put him in the Intercontinental battle
I definitely agree with you. I think Shinsuke is probably one of the more believable, better villains that they have on their roster.
because he
Um,
believes, he commits,
yes,
he understands.
yes, yes. I mean, yes, and that is something that you and I have talked of frequently. And
Yeah.
I try and sit on it sometimes. I try not to say it, but once I see it too often, there are a lot of guys on the pro wrestling circuit right now who, when I turn on that TV and I'm watching it, I'm watching a wrestling fan pretend to be a pro wrestler.
And
And
that's where it fails.
that is not going to work.
No.
Yeah, you are a fan. Of course, we're all fans. Rico was a fan of wrestling. I'm a fan
Yeah.
of wrestling. But when you go out there to do your job and you go out there and you wrestle or you cut your promo, you're not a fan anymore pretending to be a wrestler. You are that individual. And I
Yep.
think that's where a lot of these guys don't, it doesn't click. They're not getting it. And you can see it on their faces. Doesn't matter how great they are in the ring, Rico, as you and I both
You
attest.
can be as technical and as uh, polished as Chris Benoit, Chris
Mhm.
Jericho, Owen Hart, Bret Hart. You can be polished.
Yeah,
You can be all that.
yeah,
But if you do not believe in what your character is, the audience is going to flesh it out
yeah.
and they're not going to get behind you.
Right.
They're not
No.
because it's not believable.
Right.
And that's what our audience needs.
Yeah.
People who believe in their character, whatever it's given. And I've said this before, the two characters I was given is the exact opposite of my life,
Hmm.
but I made it work because I committed,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Rico the stylist, semi homo, gay, not gay,
Mm-hmm.
but that's the furthest of who I am.
Right. Right.
But it's an entertainment role.
Yeah.
So what can you do with that?
Mhm.
You know, you
Yeah.
you have to absorb it, you have to live it, you
Mhm.
have to believe it. And when you believe, as that character, they will believe
Yeah.
because they're going off your energy.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
believed I was Rico the stylist from New York, image consultant
Mhm.
to the tag team champions.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, I lived it. I thought when I went on camera or I was there, as soon as I went in the arena, I am Rico, the stylist, the image consultant.
Mhm.
That's who I am. I'm not
Yeah.
that Rico. I'm this Rico now.
Right. Yeah. And I think it's so important. And like you said, it seems like somebody, whoever's controlling in WWE right now, has had a sit down with some of these guys. Some of them are getting it, some of them are still not.
No,
But it's interesting. I'd like to see where this goes because on the other flip side of the coin, in AEW now, although I see many who believe, like Christian Cage, like MJF, like a Brian Cage, Murder Hawk Monster, some of these guys like that, there are a lot on there simply to me look like fans pretending to be wrestlers.
and
And
this is where Tony Khan's got to come in.
Mhm.
Tony Khan's got to come in because I watched Zero Hour and then
Mhm.
I watched Wrestle Dream.
Mhm.
It is
Mhm.
totally different from what Wrestle Dream was to Zero Hour.
Mhm.
And I was like, yeah, I was part of Zero Hour,
Mhm.
but MXN, Billy Gunn, and the Acclaimed went above and beyond.
Mhm.
They believed in what we were doing. I
Mhm.
don't know because I showed up or whatever,
Yeah.
but
I
I
think I
think
think that I think that's what it was because I mean again just as a sidebar because you were there that's
they
why
showed up.
that's
They
why
showed up and
that's
they
why
were in
MXN did.
character. The
Yeah.
scissoring,
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
They played it like it was a real thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think not because I was in it, I thought Mansoor, Mason, and Acclaimed stepped up their game. They
Mm-hmm.
stepped up their game because out of respect, maybe. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know.
Mm-hmm.
But I was there, but they really took it up several notches.
They
And
took they took it up a few notches. I'll say that.
yeah,
Of course, as I think about them, I can't help but get a little bit uptight, which will bring us on to our next segment, Rico.
uptight.
Because yes, because we all deal with this at one time or another. So this is our men's health section, everybody. And today we're going to be talking about temper. Because temper,
Ooh,
yes, temper, whether it be in pro wrestling, whether it be in your professional working environment, or in your home life, in a marriage, with your kids, with your family and friends, temper can plague even the calmest of us. And
yes.
especially with men at a certain point, and especially if you're dealing with guys who lift heavy weights and their testosterone levels go up. So, Rico, you've been, here, there, and everywhere. And you've dealt with temper tantrums. You've been involved in some. You've dished some out yourself. What are some of the things that you think, in terms of just techniques, that a man can use to cool off that drive when it kicks in, when that aggression kicks in? What can a man do to kind of taper that?
Well, uh, when I was younger, this is a process.
Mhm.
You got to learn to do this. And at an early age, like I said, at 23, I became a police officer. And as a police officer, you have to be unbiased to a situation and
Yeah.
you can't take anything personal. You can't, and my first training officer was fantastic. His name was Al Goff,
Okay.
and he taught me a lot. I still use his advice that he gave me way back in 1985 to this day, and for other police officers there and other people serving the public. Um, when somebody like I would get yelled at, and called all kinds of vulgar names as a police officer and stuff. Al taught me that they don't know you.
Mm-hmm.
They're not yelling at you or they're not degrading you. They are disrespecting the uniform.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't know who you are. They're just disrespecting your position. And that clicked in my head
Mm-hmm.
because people don't really know you. They're just upset at whatever situation
Mm-hmm.
and they attack you because you're the authority.
Mm-hmm.
So after he taught me that, it changed my mindset on anger, holding hatred, for people who've done me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I've had people do me wrong in my life. I'm not going to say who, but one of my ex-wives, uh, before our divorce, drained our bank account of over 6 figures
Mm-hmm.
and left me high and dry.
Mm-hmm.
And I have every right on the worldly level to hate this person for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Not only did she take all the money, she went to the court and filed a restraining order against me, saying I did all these horrible things
Mm-hmm.
and tried to get me to lose my police officer job.
Gosh.
It was just terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Just the things she made up. And I should rightfully hate her for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
I should rightfully do that. But I got through it and I know God's hand was in it because I didn't have to prove something I know I didn't do. And as far as the money, it's just money.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to forgive her.
Mm-hmm.
And because if you hold hatred or ill will to somebody or other people, that poisons you.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a toll on you. If you allow that person to upset your life where they're on your mind and what they did, and you keep putting it through your head, it it releases chemicals that destroy your inner organs.
Yeah.
Hate, it goes on your face, you're wrinkled, and I don't want to live like that. I don't hate anybody.
Right.
And I'm telling everybody, I don't hate anybody. I don't condone what everybody's done to me,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't hate anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I just give it to God.
Yeah.
And that's where my faith comes in,
Mm-hmm.
to have the strength and the knowledge to give it to God and release it. Once
Yeah.
I release it, it should be gone.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's always worked for me. I've released it.
Yeah.
And I was divorced in 2012. And then a couple years later, my ex, who did all these horrible things to me, trying to get me fired from a police job, took the 6-figure money account from me. She was out on the street with my granddaughter.
Hmm.
And she had nowhere to go. So what was I going to do? And I thought, like a man of faith, I moved her and my granddaughter back into my house.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And she stayed in a separate room along with my granddaughter, and until she got on her feet
Mm-hmm.
and she moved on.
Mm-hmm.
So that's forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't forget what she did,
Right.
but I forgave her,
Yeah.
which kept me in my body at peace.
Yeah.
And she doesn't owe me anything. I didn't do that. I didn't charge her rent. I didn't charge her anything. I let her get back on her feet and then move on with her life.
Yeah.
But I think people hold too much hate
Mm-hmm.
in their bodies. And, if you hold that in your mind and through your body, you're telling yourself that this person still has power over you.
Yeah, that's true.
And you should have power over yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's wrong what they did. And I'm pretty sure our audience have had more terrible things happen to them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can't do that. I can't do that. Well, try it.
Mhm.
Let it go, give it to God,
Mhm.
because look, I'm 63. I don't look like some rundown old hobbling senior citizen,
Nope.
even though I have my AARP card.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, but you
but
don't. But you don't. Yeah.
you gotta let it go. You
Yeah.
you cannot bog your life down with past wrongs.
Hmm.
You know, uh, I thought of this analogy years ago. Laguna Beach.
Okay.
Okay. They're basically shore breakers, the waves. They come in on the shore. And I spent years on Laguna Beach because that's where my dad dropped me off,
Mhm.
and I spent it there. And I used to watch people go into the surf. And you could tell the locals from the tourists
Okay.
right away.
Yeah.
Because when a wave was coming, a local would go over, through, or under the wave.
Yeah.
The tourists would stand there and get knocked over, the beach sand in every crack of their body.
Yeah.
But they thought they could take on the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, that's what life is like.
Hmm.
Life is like any ocean.
Hmm.
It will keep moving and keep going.
Hmm.
And if you let it knock you down, if you do not have the fortitude to get back up, do you
Hmm.
think the Pacific Ocean is going to stop to
No.
let you get up?
No.
No, it's not. You know
Hmm.
what? You got to get up on your own feet, pick yourself up,
Hmm.
and then go back.
Yeah. Or go
You know,
through it, go under it, or over it.
yes, you have to. That's what life is.
Yeah.
Life's not fair.
Hmm.
It's definitely not fair, but
Yeah.
you got to be on guard.
Yeah.
But there's not saying there's not going to be times where life knocks you over.
Hmm.
Like I said, with the ex, it floored me.
Hmm.
And taking all that money and leaving me with nothing, and then trying to get me fired from my job.
Hmm.
I could have still laid there and let the waves roll over me. But
Yeah.
no, I
Yeah.
said, I'm getting up.
Yeah.
I'm going to take this on head on.
Yeah.
And I did. I
Yeah.
went over, through, or under the waves.
Yeah.
I didn't let it beat me.
Yeah.
And that's what people have to understand.
Hmm.
You're in charge of your own life. Whether you lay down and give up, that's up to you. That's on you.
Hmm.
That's nothing but
But,
on you. But if you
but
get up and take the wave on, that shows intestinal fortitude.
and also laying down and allowing that wave to keep rolling over you, it's not going to go away magically.
No.
Only what'll happen is in 10, 15, 20, 30 years from now, the ramifications of allowing that wave to roll over you will rear its ugly head in bitterness. And
Yeah.
that bitterness will in some cases is the demise of individuals.
Yeah.
Like we don't have one life. Our belief dictates that we are eternal souls, and there's enough evidence to prove that in life.
Yeah.
But we have one opportunity in this incarnation of life to learn and to understand. And I think temper gets a lot of people fired. It gets people in seriously bad situations.
Yeah.
It gets them into trouble. And
Road rage.
road
Road
rage is
rage.
another
I
one.
think I told you this
Yep.
last week
Yep.
in Las Vegas at the Bellagio.
Hmm.
Road rage incident. A guy got out of his car and shot the other guy in the neck, killing him
Right.
over a road rage incident.
That's terrible.
That is horrible.
That's
Horrible.
a person's
Because of a
life.
traffic something that you thought you were slighted, and
Yeah.
you go take a person's life.
Yeah.
That's that is unacceptable.
Yeah.
Take a deep breath. Don't
Yeah.
go on your emotions.
No.
And I learned that as a police officer. I mean, yeah, your first emotion is going to be this or that,
Mm-hmm.
but you got to get a hold of it,
Mm-hmm.
and you can't let people have power over you.
Mm-hmm.
you know uh you have to show your strength
Mm-hmm.
as a human being, and sometimes it's not going by your emotions. Now, if your life's in danger, you got to act,
Yeah.
which unfortunately I've had to do
Yeah.
several times, and the outcome
Mm.
was
Yeah. 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 No.
The outcome wasn't good,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it was either me or them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I just, and I'm not ready to leave this world. I
Mm-mm.
just,
Mm.
that's one of the hardest things I've been having to deal with.
Yeah. No. No, Rika, it's hard. Sometimes situations occur, and
But
especially,
that's
yeah,
the career I chose.
yeah, especially in that career. My brother also is in law enforcement, and sometimes that, people who do defend the rights of others and they work for us in the law, they do have to do things sometimes that are extremely difficult. Don't believe what the movies portray. What the
No,
movies portray about this, and this is cool, and it's not cool.
no,
We're trying to help you here in styling, and as Rico's expressing, he wears his heart on his sleeve, and he's expressing this because he wants you to be able to learn from these things. In other situations, like you said, take a breath, like Rico said, take a breath. If you're having a heated debate with somebody and it starts going in that direction, walk out. Say, I'm going to go and take a walk.
yeah,
Cool off. Go if you have a backyard or whatever. If it's someone in your house, go in the backyard. Stop the conversation, because and that's the thing, is to be able to garner that judgment that you need. We are going to go through life and have arguments. We are going to have disagreements, and our temper is going to get tested. But it is in those moments that we must learn. And I'm talking to myself too, because I'm not perfect either. I can lose my temper too. Um, it's practice, but we
yeah,
hope that in sharing what we did with you just now, that maybe the next time you get embroiled in a situation similar, that maybe you'll remember this and just take a breath. It's not the end of the world. Like I said, every situation is different. If you are being attacked, if your life is in danger, that's a different ball of wax. But
yeah,
if it is something else that's just a disagreement with a friend, a work colleague, a wife, a brother, sister, friend, there are other ways out. But temper is something that uh, should be controlled. And like Rico said, you learn, you forgive. You're never going to forget, because that's just the way the human mind works. And God, you learn from these things, but you have to forgive. Don't carry that baggage with you. It's not worth carrying it around, because it's gone. It's not there anymore. So don't carry it, and don't wish ill boding upon anybody else. I was around a situation, Rico, I shared that with you off camera the other day, where
yeah,
I overheard a conversation, and I'm not going to name names, because just in case anybody sees this and says, "Oh, that was me you're talking about." No, but I overheard a conversation and somebody saying, "Oh, I'm never going to forgive that person. I wish they were dead." And
ah,
I was astounded to hear this after an argument, disagreement that took place 20 years ago. And see, that's the type of thing Rico and I are talking about. Don't hold on to that kind of negative. If it, just again, but I can't speak for everybody. I feel that right now, Rico, I should back that up a little bit, because again, I don't know what it's like if somebody had a loved one taken from them by an individual. I don't know what that's like. I pray to God I never do, but I don't know how they can cope with that. I'm just saying, for the situations that, like I said, just simple arguments and things like that, road rage. I mean, that is, again, like what Rico, what you described, that is utterly unacceptable, utterly ridiculous. That man who did that is going to have to live with that for the rest of his life, because when his emotions come down and his anger comes down, and he realized he did that over a brief moment of anger, that will
yeah,
haunt him for the rest of his life. Yeah. So again, checks and balances.
yeah,
Understand what your argument is, understand where you're at, and just, like I said, take a breath. And ultimately, if you haven't already, consider picking up a Bible. Consider asking Christ into your life. Because I know for me personally, and for my tag team partner here, Rico Constantino, that's what drives us. All this other stuff, in 50 years, Rico and I won't even be here anymore. This tape may still be here, but we won't be. So all of this, even though we go through the motions and we do it, we're here to call to do something. Ultimately, there's something greater than that, and that's our eternal salvation. And that, that's something we should all be striving to attain. But Rico, I
Yeah,
think I think we've done. I think this is a good place to wrap up this episode of Styling Today.
you got me crying.
Yep.
I
Yep.
this is a special episode.
Yep.
I I don't reveal that side of myself.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
I I hold that in
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because it's just so sensitive, so personal when you have to and you're forced to do something like that.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
just I don't know. I give it to God every
Mhm.
day
Yep.
and I ask him to get me through it
Yep.
when those terrible recollections come into my life.
Mm-hmm.
And because sometimes I don't think about it, and there's times I relive it,
Mm-hmm.
and I always ask God to take care of it for me,
Yep.
and he does.
But she, yes,
He
he does.
does.
He has. Yep. But she has Rico, and but but yeah, but Rico, um, we'll continue talking once we say goodbye to the viewers here. And again, also just to follow back up. So I never got to say my second role model. And
Oh,
I'm not just saying this because he's right here with me, but
what?
It is Rico Constantino. Yes, it is.
Me?
It is you, Rico. So when I was blessed, viewers, to be introduced to Rico about 8 months ago, it was at the beginning of this year, 2024. I had a tremendous time with Rico. An instant bond, an instant friendship was connected. We're brothers in Christ, and
Yeah,
ever since then, Rico, on so many levels, we talk very frequently, almost every other day or every
yeah,
day we shoot each other a text. I love this man as a brother, a mentor to me, friend for life. So you are
yeah.
the second one, Rico.
Oh,
So,
thank you.
yeah,
Thank you,
incredible.
Amir.
Yeah,
I remember our first interview,
yeah, 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 yeah,
and
cool.
I felt the connection too. I
Yeah,
just, I didn't know about you, but I felt the connection. It was just so natural
yeah,
to be on the Victoire.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
just like, wow, this is a wonderful person. I can feel
yeah,
his spirit,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and it went from there.
yeah,
Well, I thank you for considering me a role model.
yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely,
I
Rico.
I I cherish that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely, Rico. All right, viewers. Oh, Rico,
Yeah.
we forgot
Oh,
what would look good for us before we do
oh, when? Oh
that.
my gosh, we got so much. But I want you, everybody out there, to smash that subscribe button.
Yep,
Don't hesitate. Initiate. Come
yep,
on, hit the like button too. Give
yep,
it a double whammy. Come
yep,
on.
yep.
We,
Hit the
we
note.
talk about everything. I can't wait to go to super chats.
Yep,
I can't wait.
yep.
I would love to hear from the fans.
Super Chats is coming up soon, ladies and gentlemen. We're still growing our audience. We hope that you can help us with that. Like Rico said, lay the smack down on that subscribe button, hit the likes, hit the notifications, and make sure, please, share this with your friends and family. That's how we get this audience. Share it with your share it on Facebook, share it on X, share it on Instagram. Tell them about Styling, the podcast.
Yeah.
All
Because we're
right.
a lot more than styling. We
Yeah.
talk about everything.
We talk about it.
And you know what? We need your help.
Mm-hmm.
We need everybody's help to broaden our arena.
Yeah.
Tell us what you need. Tell us what you want us to talk about
Yeah.
from your experience, my life experience. Tell us how we can help you.
Yeah.
This is a totally different podcast.
This is a
Th-
totally different show.
yeah, it is different. We want to help everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way we would know is if you comment,
Yeah.
you like, you subscribe, and we will take up the topic.
Yeah.
We will.
Yep, yep. We will.
So
We already have. One of our
yes,
fans wanted to about the American Gladiators. You've already seen Ice on here.
yeah,
By the way, everybody, next week Rob Conway from La Resistance will be joining us, and I've got
Iron Man, Rob
the
Conway.
Iron Man Rob Conway, and I have a feeling, I'm at least I'm hoping that maybe sometime soon we'll see Rene Dupree here. Maybe.
Oh,
So yes,
Renee, a
yeah,
wonderful human being,
yeah. So
wonderful.
we'd love to have him on here, and to round out La Résistance. Well, actually, we'd need Sylvain Grenier as
Yeah,
well, so
or
we'd have to
well,
track him
Rob
down.
Conway was La Resistance too.
Yeah,
I've been on Renee's show a
yep.
couple of times, and he's intelligent. He
Hmm.
really is intelligent, asks great questions, and it's a podcast you got to see
Yeah, yeah.
because
Café de
Cafe
René.
de Rene. Yep.
Yeah, Café de René. So make sure. Sorry, excuse me. So yeah, there's that, and then of course we forgot. But again,
Chuck.
we'll toast. Oh yes,
Oh,
we'll
I got my probiotic juice.
I had my water here. We just want to toast you. We should have done that at the beginning of the show, but of course we got sometimes we get carried away. But
Yeah.
Chuck Palumbo, everybody, one half of Billy and Chuck. So he did text me last night, late last night. He is traveling at the moment, which is his schedule. He's traveling for quite a while, but he said he's going to touch base with me as soon as he gets back so we can set him up being on the show. So we did tell you
Okay.
in the month of December, but he did text me last night. I texted him late last week, so he just got back to me. But nonetheless, Chuck will be joining us. Paul Roma from our other show will be hopping over and joining us here.
I love Paul. He
Yeah,
is fantastic. He's got such a wealth of knowledge.
yeah, yeah.
I
He is
just got to teach him the Sicilian way.
right
I
because he
got
is
anything to
Italian.
do with the Godfather.
Because he is Italian after all. So,
Yes, he
uh,
is.
but plenty more special guests are going to be joining us. That's probably going to take us into 2025. Rob Conway, Chuck Palumbo, Paul Roma, potentially Rene Dupree. But then we'll have plenty more guests joining
We
us.
got to have Mario. We got to
We
have
got to have
Mario.
Mario. We got to have Mario on here too.
Yeah.
Chris has already joined us. Who will be
Yep.
joining us on this channel, this network with Masterlock soon. But I'm sure Chris is going to come back, so we'll have him on here. And then, of course, plenty of other superstars that you'll be familiar with will be joining us in the year
Yeah.
2025. But, ladies and gentlemen, until next week, until the show with Rob Conway, we want to wish you all a very safe day, night, evening, whatever it is. And also remember what Rico tells you. Rico will give you a quote as a closing statement here.
What your mind can conceive, your heart can achieve.
Amen.
That's with everybody. You
Amen.
can do it.
Amen.
Anything's possible.
Amen. And always believe. All right. And again,
And
just
for those Christians, Philippians 4:13. Read that
okay.
and you know what I'm talking about.
Uh, amen. Amen, Rico. Till next time, everybody, take care.
Mwah. Happy holidays to
Yes.
everybody.
Happy holidays.